Hello, my name is Chris Loera. I'm with Below Subsurface Imaging, and today I'm going to do a quick little demonstration on 3D scanning and the power of point clouds and their usefulness in creating underground utility maps for utility locating projects. So with that, let's just jump right in and we'll get started. The first portion of the process that I want to show you is completed in our post-editing software called Scene. And here you can see it essentially looks like a photograph, but if you're familiar with Google Streets, it kind of has the same look to it, as that you can move around and look up or look down, left or right, and we can see all the data that we've collected. This is actually the perspective from the 3D scanner, what it saw while it was scanning. And if I go all the way down, you can kind of see it shows you where the scanner was at. And you can see from the photo it's actually very detailed. It's high quality, high resolution. And in here you can see we have some markers that we use. These are spheres. There's one there, one here, there's one over here, and there's a couple across the street as well. And these spheres are visible in all three scans that we did for your project. And what those do is it helps the software to align all three scans to make it one workspace so that we can see everything all at one time. So this is kind of the post-processing part of it. You can see here these are all our utility marks. This is where we're going to get our information for our CAD drawing to show where these utilities are in relation to your vault. So this is kind of just what it looks like, the initial view of it. And so once I've gone through and done all of my editing, I'm able to create a 3D workspace, which this is the example of the 3D workspace. And you can see from this point, I have these little circles here, these shaded areas. Those are where my three scans were performed at. And you can see these little icons here. Those are each one of the scans. It kind of is a depiction of where the scanner was when I was doing the scans. So you can see from doing a ground survey here, you can tell I can actually go above it and treat this like an aerial and get a bird's eye view of all of the information that I gathered while doing the scan. And you can see it just takes a minute to regenerate because there's so many millions of points that it's processing it each time I move. So it's kind of the bird's eye view over the project site. And you can see here the manhole to the vault that was in question. Now, one of the other cool features of this software and utilizing the 3D scanner to do our survey is that, say for instance, during a conventional survey, when our guys were out there, they forgot to shoot this manhole. That would take a repeat trip for them to go back out there and get the information. But with the 3D process, I already have all of these are individual points, so I have all the information. Everything that you see here can be translated into our CAD drawing. So if this manhole were, for instance, in the middle of the street, and for whatever reason it was paved over, and you were unable to see it, and we needed to find that, and there was no good record drawings as to where it was, we would be able to go back and look at our record 3D scan and pull some dimensions from some fixed points that we can see and find the center of the manhole. And I have that demonstrated here. So what I've done here is I've taken some measurements from the two vents, this vent here, and also there is a fire hydrant there. And I took 3 measurements so that I could triangulate the location of the center of that manhole. And if you look closely, as I rotate this, you can see the horizontal measurements from here, 11.5 feet, and then from this one, 11.17, and from the hydrant is 37.65 feet. So that would enable you to find a feature that perhaps was lost because it was covered over, or during construction something was removed. So we can take any of these points, we could actually pull it from the curb here. We can choose anything that we want, anything that's still visible, we could actually pull a point and find that covered up manhole. Now I will kind of move around the drawing so that you can see kind of the detail that you actually gather through the 3D scan. It's pretty impressive. You can see the score lines in the sidewalk, where the curb face meets the street. All that information is there, so we could actually go through and trace it for a topographic survey as well. So Next, I will show you another part of the post-processing where we import the point cloud into AutoCAD. Okay, now the next step in the process is the insertion of the point cloud into the CAD drawing for editing. And you can see what I did here was I took the background image that you provided to us, I turned everything in it white so that kind of everything that we will do in the editing process is going to pop out somewhat. And you can see I've already started to process some of this information. I actually aligned a portion of a building. I'll take that out, we don't need it right now. But I actually started drawing in, here's a water line, here's a comm line, here's the electrical line associated with that vault. Now these lines can be as detailed as they normally are using your CAD standards or ours. Typically we do the APWA color codes, so that's why the water is blue and comm is orange and red is electrical, so on and so forth. But usually there's little indicators like W's for the water lines along the lines, C for comm, so on and so forth as well. So that can be all edited as well. So from here, what I've done, something that we also do is we like to put a aerial image so that we can see kind of where we're at and make sure we're not missing anything. So we've aligned an aerial image in there as well. That just kind of helps us with the QC process. But for the time being, I will turn that off and I'll kind of zoom into where we're going to be at, and then I'll turn on the point cloud, which I've already attached to this drawing, but I've got it turned off so that I can turn it on now and show you what that looks like. And so here's the point cloud now in AutoCAD, and I can actually start drafting directly from this point cloud. I could create polylines as long as I'm able to see the utility marks on the ground. You can see the individual points. I can actually select them, create a polyline from one point to another, and draw those lines in for the utilities as well. You can see that the point cloud is actually three-dimensional. You can see the difference in elevation. Here on the back side of the concrete sidewalk, you can see it, the planter, how it goes up, and then the face of the wall. You can see the building faces. You kind of get a better perspective if I go at it from the side here like this. You can see the whole fronts of the buildings and the walls, and this is the street surface here. So it kind of gives you an idea of how much information is actually there. Now, the way that I actually put the utility lines in this drawing was from another piece of software called VirtuServe. It's just a little bit easier for drawing the individual lines for utilities, and we can actually do it right from the 3D scans. So now that we have this point cloud attached, I'll show you kind of how simple and how fast the process is of updating the drawing to show the utility lines and where they run. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how we can get some line work in there to our CAD drawing, and it's a pretty simple process. I'm sharing the screen right now between VirtuServe and AutoCAD, and I'm going to, for clarity, I'm going to turn off the point cloud for the time being so that you can actually see us drawing these lines in. So everything's been aligned and we're ready. Now, it looks like during our investigation, our technicians found some unknown utility lines running through the area, and that's indicated here by these pink marks. So I want to add that to our CAD drawing, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in right now. I'm going to select a 3D polyline, and you can see over here that AutoCAD is recognizing that they're communicating with each other. It says specify start point, and I'm going to select a 3D point, and I'm going to start drawing. Let me make sure that I'm in the right layer here, which I am. So here we go. Put the first mark down, and you'll see that the line will kind of follow along where I'm indicating here in VirtuServe. And then I'm going to switch to another portion of that to get the tail end of that marking. Actually spin around the other way. And this is the last point of that unknown utility. And then I'm going to actually hit enter, and that'll close the line. And you can see that our CAD drawing has now been updated with that utility mark, and you can see that it's all within relation. Here's the gutter. Here's the gutter here in AutoCAD, and you can see the utility line running through there. Now, another useful part of VirtuServe is, for instance, say we needed some more detail to our CAD drawing, some more reference points or something like that. Your guys' background is pretty good detail already with the curbs and everything, but say we needed a little bit more detail, and I'm just going to add this because it's so relevant in this scan here. I'm going to put in this little planter area so you can see really quickly. I'm going to take this, I'm going to create a spline. I'm going to start marking out this spline, and you're going to see it transferred over to our AutoCAD drawing. It's pretty quick. And I'm going to hit enter to close that line out, and now you see the planter. This portion of the planter has now been put into our AutoCAD drawing as well. And I could go on and I could continue and do this portion of it and then the next one, and you'd see that kind of come out. And if you look at it, you'll see that these are all three-dimensional. It has elevation to it. You can see it rising up. So get all the information that you need all from the 3D point cloud. We can put as much detail or as little detail as you want. Now, once we have all the feature details in and we have all the line work done, we can update the line types to make it whatever line type you'd like, so it matches your guys' CAD standards. But then also you can come through and pretty quickly you can put in all your dimensions, just like you would normally with AutoCAD. It looks like there was some dimensions in here, and we can probably just pull a couple more than you. It looks like there was dim lines to the electrical on this side before, but we can take, and now that we have all these new lines, these new utility lines, the water line, we can put new dim lines for all that stuff. Oh, and I'm in a different layer, so it's showing up as a different color, but you kind of get the idea. So real useful information. We can show where all these lines are in relation to the last reference point, which is the center of Mills Avenue, it appears. All right, well, that wraps up our brief demo of the power of 3D scanning. I hope that you guys have gotten some useful information and you can see how this technology can be used for your type of work and our capabilities here at Ciboleau. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to give me a call here at the office, and my name is Chris Loera, so thank you very much for your time.